All right, Reap a Jeep and honeysuckle test. There you go, guys.
Where's his best part? They just park it in their driveway?
But there's a boys playing right down the street. It's got a big parking lot. And he found a place on Whitby park it.
Oh, okay. How did we get it over there?
They'll take a whole school bus.
Okay. Must be a big ferry. Not a body fun place to keep it.
Yeah, it's $35 a month.
their teeth, and that's how she makes a little extra money. But just watching, they have this really primitive equipment. It's a really hard life, just like what a hard life they're living.
Had somebody from a Mennonite set for, I can't remember between Mennonites and
Amish.
Amish. But I can't-
Well, they're all Anabaptists, but some of them, the Amish typically have much stricter, are a little more strict in their
Okay.
views. Some Mennonites have become pretty modernized as far
I
as.
think before Amish, they were totally had the traditional black and they were families and.
Yeah.
They do too.
Some of them do, but not all of them. And there's a range. There's a pretty big range. Now, what was interesting is some of these communities, and what was really interesting is some of these communities, especially the ones that were really struggling economically, because they were allowed to use diesel to operate their irrigation system, but they weren't allowed to connect up with the Mexican power grid. And diesel had become super expensive, so their crops were just drying out in the fields. And so there was a push within the community because one community had decided to go on the electrical grid for the same reason, and were economically flourishing much better. But alcoholism is a real problem amongst their young. And yes, they aren't allowed to do so many things. That one of the things they do, starting at like the age of 13, is drink a lot. And they spend their Sundays after their meetings drinking, these young men. And when they're closer, when they're more tied into the local communities, they have more access to alcohol, more access to those things. And a lot of them don't actually end up leaving the community altogether, but they go through this period of like alcoholism basically. And so there's this tension of how separate, but what was interesting is these communities who were discussing, like, we really need to get on the Mexican power grid because we cannot support our families anymore. Our crops are all dying because we can't afford to irrigate the fields. Well, what that would mean if enough of them decided to do that is the people who are opposed to it would leave. Like, instead of, they would just, like, completely move. And the ones who, in this other community where this had happened, when it was decided that they were going to go on the power grid, the people who disagreed, the whole huge group of them immigrated to Bolivia. And that's sort of you're kind of like casting out the people who are not going to be willing to modernize with you that far. They're not going to stay there and kind of live in tension with you. They're going to just up and immigrate somewhere else. So it's like choosing to cast out, the older people, the more conservative people in your community to, yeah, and it was clear, like they thought they were filming this meeting between some of the men in the community who were really feeling the need to start using electricity, and they were, they're discussing this, like, a lot of people are being teach how tough emotionally that